All right. It's not the first show. Is it the first show? Might be the first show. I have no memory.
First show this week.
First show this week, first show this month. It's not the best show. There's a best show. This ain't it. But
Not there
it's the
yet.
last show. Uh, it's the last show. It could be the last show. I may throw I almost threw my cap in today. I'm
Empty
very,
threats. Empty threats.
very, very tired. But I think I think, I saw a headline. I think it was last week. It was somebody in sports. I don't follow sports, but somebody in sports. Did you hear this? Somebody in sports said, I don't believe in space. Oh,
I
you
did
didn't hear
not
this?
hear it. I did not see
Yeah.
this one.
I wish I had the story in front of me, but apparently he said, listen, I don't believe in space. He doesn't believe in space or the planet,
Okay.
anything like that. And at first, my first reaction was, that's That's crazy. The guy's a little wacky. He's probably
He's a
a
flat earther.
right, a flat earther, probably doesn't think the moon landing. But but then I thought to myself, you know what? I kind of know what he means. Now let me explain. I
Right.
I believe in space, right? But that word believe is super important and people kind of gloss over it. So you believe in space, but that doesn't mean you think it's true. Like you think that's the possibility is true, but I have zero firsthand experience of space. And I will,
Seeing is believing is what you're saying.
well, yeah, and you know what? One of my hobbies, I've done practice sleight of hand for decades, and even seeing, I know how easy it is to fool somebody with just something. So I would say experience is the gold standard, but even that is unreliable. So anything I know about space is completely secondhand. Not even secondhand. It's like four, five, six, 100 times removed. Now if you said to me, yeah, I went to space and it's pretty cool. I saw some stars and stuff. Okay, now we're talking, but I've never met anybody. Have you met anyone that's gone to space?
I don't think I've ever met an astronaut. No.
No, right. So you've got to take somebody's word that you don't even know the person. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of evidence that there's this thing called space. There's people that study it every day. So they
Hmm.
all have to be in on it or lying or something. But um, so chances are there is this thing called space and there's planets and suns. But like I don't have direct experience of it. And all of everything I know is like it's not even like it's third, fourth, fifth hand. So, you
So
know,
if there's no space, what is the final frontier?
I, I don't know. Why does there have to be a final frontier? That's a
Because I feel like mankind's been chasing it.
right. And I don't even get that. Trust me. Like I said, like just relax. Like let's take care of the planet we live on. And then you don't have to worry about space. And I'm never going to space. Like I'll be the last person on Earth. You know, I'm not a religious person, but if I believe someone once said if God intended for us to fly, he would have given us wings, and I believe that. So, but I mean, I think sanity is your relationship to the physical, measurable world. The closer your relationship is, the more in tune you are to the physical world, and you can predict it, the saner you are, and the more successful you'll be, right? Like that's where people go astray, is they get out of what's physical. So you can control the physical and you can control what's in your experience, but beyond that is all mental models and even the weather. The weather's too big to completely predict. They can get close, but
We see that every day. They're
right.
unpredictable.
Right, but they have a model, but the model can never be as big as the thing. Otherwise, it would be the thing, right? So
Right, right.
that's why I love working on websites and software because it's a closed system. There's a guy that I've worked with, and he's really smart, and everybody respects him and goes to him with their problems for his counsel. Like he's just a wise Yoda-like guy. And I said to him one time, I said, why, how did you get this way? What's your strategy? And he said the greatest thing I've ever heard. He said, I look at the code. I just look at the code because everybody thinks I'm smart. He goes, I don't memorize. I don't know. He goes, when there's a problem, I look at the code. I look at physically what's happening.
Hmm.
And I don't make assumptions. And I feel like as human beings, you have to make assumptions, but
We
we
jump
are
to a lot of conclusions. Yeah, our brains love to fill in the gaps.
right. And you don't know, you don't realize until you just don't examine it. So the whole space thing, like nobody really thinks, like everybody just takes it for granted that there's space without thinking, like, how do you know that? So I guess that's an interesting field that I've been thinking about is like, how do we know what we know and what are we really sure about? And then you realize that there's not a whole lot that I'm really sure about. There just isn't.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
look
always room.
around.
There's
Yeah, you
always
can always
room.
learn more.
Well, yeah, your model can get bigger. So anyway, I had one other thing. I had one other thing I wanted to talk to you about because you said before that you said that you did not watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
Right, I was not a regular watcher, did not
Yeah.
have the subscription.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's amazing because I think a week or two ago we're behind, but there's an episode where Larry and his friends are at the country club, and Larry tries to order breakfast, or somebody tries to order breakfast, and they say it's too late. It's 11.
Oh boy.
Stopped
It's the
breakfast.
old McDonald's problem.
Yes. Have I told you this story? This is the
No.
most amazing thing because when it happened, everybody's like, this is a Larry David story. And this happened a long time ago. And I was just so happy to see that he finally did this. So I go to McDonald's to get a McGriddle. First of all, I have a very strong rule about I haven't had a McGriddle in years, but I have a strong rule about a McGriddle. Anybody that doesn't know what a McGriddle is, it is basically a pancake with syrup infused as the bread. And then in between that is bacon, egg, and cheese. And you can get variation, sausage or whatever. I have a problem with the classic McGriddle. I don't eat cheese on my pancakes. I don't know who does, but that's that to me, that's too
It's
far.
pushing it too far for you. Okay.
I don't put cheese. Would you put cheese on your pancake?
No,
It's
I mean,
two
it
things.
definitely
No,
wouldn't be
not
my first
yeah,
topping, but I do like the McGriddle,
I
even
know.
with the
Well,
cheese.
I get it without the cheese. So I pull up and it's like I don't know what time it is, but it's still breakfast. So I pull up and I said, "Can I get a McGriddle without cheese and a hash brown?" And this causes such a commotion you cannot even imagine. Now I'm not thinking about the price, or I'm just ordering it. I don't need a drink, otherwise I get the meal. I think I had drinks I had like two cans in my console, so I had no place to put the drink.
Hmm.
So this is so crazy. They're like, "Sir, we have to charge you for a meal. We can't if you uh, I said, can you just I'll get the meal, but just hold the drink." And they said, "We can't do that."
Seems more than fair.
So I said, "I'll order the meal, hold the drink. I don't need the drink." So that's what it was. It was not me ordering separately. I said, "I'll order the meal. I want two things in the meal. I'll pay the price. You just hold the drink." Now, I've never validated this, but I guess it's cheaper. I, I, I don't know. I guess it's cheaper to do that than to just buy a McGriddle and a hash brown.
It might be. They ever since they went a la carte, weird stuff like that
Right.
happens. Yeah.
But that was not my intention. So they said we have to give you that we have to give you have to buy them separately. And so I said, "Oh, I said, but what?" I said, "You're going to charge me more money for less stuff. Does that make any sense? Why
Right.
would that make sense? Why would buying more stuff be more why would be buying more stuff, paying for more stuff? That doesn't make any sense. I said, so we go back and forth. And so finally the woman says, she says, "Sir, would you like me to get a manager that you can talk to?"
This is all
This
through the
is
drive-through.
this is in the
Oh
drive-thru. We're going
God.
back and forth, back and forth. And I just couldn't understand it. And again, like we're talking, how much money are we talking here? We're talking $1. This is
Right.
the
Probably a
difference of
dollar.
$1.
Yeah.
What? I mean, come on. So I wanted to order. All I wanted was a McGriddle and the hash brown, and I didn't want the drink. And it didn't even occur to me that like ordering them separately. I would always just order the meal. So I said, all right. I said, no, you don't need to get like a manager's gonna come in and settle this 50
Right.
cent
Right.
this disagreement. I said, you don't need to get a manager. It's fine. I said, just give me this separately. Whatever the price is, I'll pay it. The price was not the issue anyway. There's silence. And the next thing I hear blows my mind.
Oh.
The next thing I hear is, I'm sorry, sir, but breakfast is now over. And I just sat there. I just sat there. We had talked about it. Breakfast was still going on. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had this conversation.
Were you like right at the time where like it erased from their screen?
Yeah, I was like I must have gotten there at like 10:55 and we argued for 5 minutes
Oh my
straight
God.
about 50 cents. And she said, breakfast is over. And I remember just sitting there. And then the next thing she said is, sir, would you mind moving up? There's cars behind you. Because I was sitting there. I
Right.
couldn't
You're the bum now taking up the line.
I could not comprehend what had just happened. So I drove away. I'm like, I can't believe I just went to McDonald's to get a McGriddle and I had the opportunity to buy a McGriddle and argued it away. I just could not believe that that happened. And it's the greatest thing. And I've told that story for years, and people said that's like a Larry David story because we were arguing, and now he's done it on his show, and so that made me that validated that that was a Larry David a moment in my life. So anyway, that's the McGriddle incident.
I love it.
I thought you'd enjoy it. I'm wondering I'm wondering what you got in the news for me this week.
Not a whole lot of exciting stuff, but uh I think you already knew this, the Meta outage, right? I think it was Facebook, Insta, WhatsApp, right? They were claiming a couple hours, but if you if you see the articles I was reading, Down Detector, the big site that tracks all this,
Yeah.
you know, normally tiny numbers, but as the day went on, these things ballooned to like 500,000 people. I
Okay.
mean, people want their social media, so there's people resetting their passwords thinking they got locked out.
I did. I
I,
did. I
yeah, not
thought,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't have social media. I have WhatsApp.
Oh,
I don't consider that social media, but I didn't have any
okay.
issues that I am aware of.
I
Um,
I was in between calls and I don't really check Facebook during the day and I clicked on it and yeah, I thought I was hacked. Because it was like something's gone wrong, you can
yeah,
change your
you weren't
password.
alone apparently.
But I have two-factor authentication. So I was like, if somebody changed my password, how would they do that without without that? So yeah, and then I immediately went and set his Facebook down. It took me like a few minutes to figure out that maybe
Mhm.
there's an outage.
Right, you grow
So
so accustomed to it never being down that
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
threw
So
a lot of
that's
people off.
yeah. I mean, it's a good thing though. It's a good thing, I think. So, but you don't, and you're not on Facebook, and that's it's
No
such a
social
time
media for
suck.
me right now. Maybe one day.
Yeah, it's such a time suck. You're better off.
Mhm,
You really are. You know, I go on. I'm on a treasure hunting group, and
mhm.
and I love every. There's great people, really smart, funny people, and they're spending hours looking for treasure. And I just and I did it for a while, and that's a whole nother story. I looked for Forrest Fenn's treasure, and I looked for the New York secret treasure, but um like all that time, I can't do it now. I have other projects that I'm working on. I can't
Right.
spend time on that. So I guess especially with my daughter and with writing and all these things we're working on, um, I just I'm like I think there's the idea that you look back on your life and you're like, well, would I have if I'm dying, would I is that something that I was glad that I did, or is that something that probably could have done without? So I try to look through that lens and try to make good decisions. But what else do you have?
Uh, I don't know if you're a big crypto guy. That was a big roller coaster this week. Was watching the numbers finally go back up. They're fairly stable and they're much higher than they used to be, but I do think we're still on the roller coaster to see where we're headed.
Bitcoin's
Nothing.
at 67,000.
I think somewhere around there today. It might be a little lower, but
Wow.
Doge, SHIB, all those. Yeah, I've got my hands in a few things. Nothing I can retire over yet.
It's funny. I was talking to a friend today, and he was telling me about an Uber driver that had bought two Bitcoins at like
Mhm.
$2,000. And he's like, he wondered like what happened. Did he buy any more? He kept talking about like buying more and you should buy Bitcoin, and he was gonna buy more Bitcoin. So he was like always wonders like what happened to that guy. Um, and my question was, when do you when do you cash
When do
out?
you cash out?
Because that's a totally different story.
I mean,
Is
it's like
the
any
Bitcoin to turn,
stock, you know?
when do you cash out? Like you read those stories about the GameStop kids that like
GameStop,
way
yeah,
they were way up and then they were down.
yeah.
Like like that's you like when do you know? Like how long do you hold it for? When do you make that decision? Like because you don't know. It could drop. Um so yeah, I'm probably better off not mucking around with that kind of stuff. The State of the Union is that happening right now?
Nah, soon. It's soon. I think
Oh,
9 p.m. Eastern is,
okay.
yeah.
I
So that's probably some big news this week.
I don't know. I'm fatigued by politics. Are you fatigued by politics?
Yeah, every day. I actually hate that it's an election year because it gets worse and like you get more of these cold calls, you know.
Yeah,
Oh
text
God, just
messages.
stop.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I came up with a rule for politics, and I think I'm gonna have to break it during this election. But my rule is if you wouldn't hire somebody for to replace you in your job, then you probably shouldn't vote for them. And I don't know. I don't if they were like, all right, interview these guys and tell me if your boss was like, interview these guys, tell me what you think. Should we hire one of them? I don't think I'm hiring either one of these guys.
Would you be
Uh,
accused of ageism?
I know. I like it's not even that. It's not even that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I'd be like I don't have anybody else that we can interview. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree. I don't think we have the best candidates possible, but I have felt that way for the last few elections, so
yeah, it's
we'll
true.
see. We will see.
Um, and I have an alternative rule. Somebody was telling me the other day they had somebody like estimate for redoing their bathroom or something, and they just kept calling like 7 times. And I said, so I have that rule for politics. If you wouldn't hire this person for a job, you shouldn't vote for them. And then I have these other rule for like business, like contractors or whatever. If they act in a way that would not be suitable on a date, regardless of sex, but like if they would act in a way that would turn off their date in a business setting, then I
Hmm.
think I wouldn't do business with them. So if
So
somebody
calling 7 to 10 times
right would
in
be
one day.
inappropriate if you
Yeah.
just if you met somebody and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's go out for coffee sometime. I'll call you." And then they call 7 times in one day and are, not show up at your house and are late or whatever. Forget it. It's over. It's over. So I believe the etiquette that you should maintain on a date is also the etiquette that you should follow in a business situation.
I think
That's
that's a pretty good rule to live by.
Yeah, like why would you get well, like just because it's the plumber doesn't mean that he can, text me at all hours of the night. So anyway, I saw Mike Tyson is back fighting.
You were
He's
telling me. I think
58.
this is great.
He's fighting Jake Paul. Jake Paul? Jake Paul. Um who I mean, listen, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, these guys are what you would call rabble rousers. They know how to create controversy.
Uh-huh.
So hate them, love them. They've got plenty of fans. They got plenty of haters. Um, they create controversy, and I mean, it's a smart move to go after Tyson. Tyson is 31 years older
Hmm.
than Jake Paul. So yeah, the one of the greatest, if not the greatest boxer ever, but he's 31 years older. Like he could get
Right.
like seriously hurt. He's
Yeah.
slower. I mean, I just know how my body is falling apart, and I'm not as old as Mike Tyson.
And you
Uh,
and you didn't box for a living.
right, and I didn't box for a living. So I don't know, like could Mike Tyson get seriously hurt? I hope not. I would love to see Mike Tyson, like that would be so great if he won.
Just
And
knock him out early.
it's going to be live on Netflix. So Netflix I guess is
Oh,
doing
that's cool. So no
doing
pay-per-view. I could actually watch this.
yeah, yeah, without paying as long as you're
Nice.
Netflix. I think Netflix is starting to get into live streaming now. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's pretty interesting. Um, anything else on your side?
Nope. I think
I
we've had a pretty quiet week overall.
well, the last headline I saw before we came on here, this is crazy. This is as crazy as wearing three collared shirts. The headline was AI will surpass human intelligence in the next couple of years.
Couple.
Yeah,
Couple years.
couple of years.
That's a
Yeah.
bold statement.
Yeah. Now, why would we create why would humans create something that's going to make us obsolete? That's like a cow creating a machine that's just going to make milk. Why would you do that? A cow wouldn't do that. A cow would not do that. I don't understand. Like I kind of don't understand the whole like the whole point of creating something is because a human is creating it. I don't know why we even went down this path in the first place. Can you answer that question?
Well, certainly I cannot answer, but I can tell you from the lens of using AI as a tool, I can see why we want to make it better. The challenge with that, right, comes all the ethical concerns, all of the nefarious things that people can do with AI. And that's where I think the gray area is right now is how do you regulate it? How do you keep it to, reasonable usage? I
Right.
agree. It's like
But
at what point do you say enough's enough? Like what drives people to push it that far?
right. And why would yeah, I mean I guess in a way it's kind of a weird thing. It's like, well, people want to replace other people. They just don't want to replace themselves. So I guess that is the maybe part of the driving force. But I
Hmm.
don't see it as that great of a thing. Um, it takes the fun out of everything. So I don't know. And I had the same question with virtual reality. It's like, why why do we need to create virtual reality? Like I don't get it.
Yeah,
The
see,
real
virtual
thing.
reality, augmented reality, I feel like some of that stuff, at least again, I keep coming back to tools. I guess I'm a very logical person.
Right.
Tools, training, that's extremely valuable. And I think even in the healthcare space, there's probably some really valuable things. But
Yeah, but
how far do you push it?
I never would sit here and say, "Oh, let's create a fake representation of a." I never would have come up with virtual reality if it was up to me. I never would have thought that way. I never would have come up with artificial intelligence. It's just I would
Hmm.
have figured the problem out without trying to build a thing to figure it out, I think. So, anyway, I'm wondering, last week you had a two-word life tip that first of all took me a few it took me a minute to figure out what you were actually saying, but once I
Yep.
figured it out, I was stunned. I believe it's a great life tip and hack, and I appreciate it. I think everybody appreciated it. So if you haven't watched that, it is a action-packed double length feature, almost as long as a feature film.
Yeah.
Last week's episode is. So anyway, check that out. I'm wondering what you're coming with this week to top that.
So I think I said I was going to bring up another food one this week, but
Okay.
I'm doing some thinking. I was talking to somebody last night, and I said, it's probably time I brought this up. I'm a very logical, organized kind of guy.
Right.
Um, if you don't use something like OneNote or Evernote, I think is the other big one out
Do
there.
you believe in space?
I do believe in space. I do believe in
Okay.
space.
All right, on the record. Okay.
So
OneNote, Evernote.
use them for inventory though. So I do a lot of storage of stuff. We'll talk about my huge Christmas village another time.
Right.
Everything's in the attic or the garage. Everything's in bins. Guess what? It's all inventoried. Every bin has a number. If you saw the spreadsheets I have, you'd probably go
Are you
crazy. But
scanning these numbers in, or they have barcodes, or you're just
no, I don't have barcodes, not yet anyway.
okay?
But yeah, I can tell you where every little piece is in these bins. Good for camping, good for the village, also good for deep freezers if you guys have deep freezers out there for, sometimes you forget what you've got buried in there.
Right. So you have an inventory of what's in your freezer. Is that true?
Inventory of what's in the basement freezers. We have 3 deep freezers.
And what are you using?
Uh,
OneNote?
We use OneNote. That way I can give access to my wife. Google Sheets would work. Like, I don't think the app matters. Use something that you're probably already using, but man, keep track of that stuff. It's simple. You go to do groceries, or you make a batch of food, you want to freeze it, open up the app, drop it in, put a date. Now you know it's there.
Are
It's
you using
fantastic.
images? Are you taking pictures or
Yeah, we're
no?
not doing images.
No. Okay.
That
It's
might be
just a
pushing
list
it.
of things, a list of things. And what about in the bins? Are they in numbered bags, or it's just to know what bin
Mm,
is what's
So,
bin?
listen, I've got room for improvement on that, and every year I improve. The um, the spreadsheet has grown exponentially in terms of what info is on there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's literally just rows and rows and rows of items with
Okay.
part numbers and stuff. But then I've got a bin number.
Okay.
If it's a bin that has layers, like there's some bins like an ornament organizer, right? 2, 3 layers. I will put a tray number, but I don't get the specific
Okay. I'd like to
spot
see you
in
start
there.
using images as well.
I
Why
I,
not? You're
I want
there.
to link I
You
want to
might as
link
well.
out to manufacturer's website. That would be even better.
Right. And then you could sell these sheets to people so that they just could copy, they could just buy
Hmm.
things and they could click on the links to buy the stuff and then they could you'd
Yeah.
give them a foundation for their see?
Yeah, we'll have to talk about the village at some point because that's
Yeah.
something I think I will maybe do another side project do some video footage of the village.
Yeah,
There's
I would love to see that.
good
I'm
good
sure
info
people would
there.
see that. I'm sure people would love to see that. That's the kind of thing that I think everybody loves. Um,
So hit me. What do you got this week? I'm the organized guy. I feel like you're gonna hit me with something random here.
yeah. So, um, it's especially in this world where you're getting pings, you're getting constant notifications. It's easy to just be moving, just moving, moving, moving. And I guess this is it's kind of two parts, but the first part is just slow down, just slow down, and like just take a breath and slow down. Because the faster you go, the more you're in like this survival mode, and it changes for me at least, it changes my baseline. You don't realize it, and then your stress goes up and your default level, it just goes up. And a trick that I learned I love this. This is one of the greatest things I've ever learned. It comes from Carl Reiner, who I think just died like last year. Um,
He
died
may have.
recently. Yeah. There's a documentary about him. He was in his 90s when it happened. And I think it's called don't it's called If You're Not in the Obituaries, Have Breakfast, or something like that.
Huh.
And uh and it's about aging. It's about getting older and loving it. Dick Van Dyke is in it, who's still alive and is like might be like 99, 98. I
He's
think they
up
had to
there,
take him
yeah.
off the road because he was crashing the car and stuff. Um, but there's a tip on there. I don't know. I want to say Jerry Seinfeld tells this, but I could be wrong because I think I went back one time and saw it and I was incorrect. So I'm not sure who says this, but somebody comes on, I think it's Seinfeld, and says, when you go out to lunch with Carl Reiner, um, he has a cup of coffee and this is the greatest cup of coffee I've ever had. And then the sandwich comes. He goes, this is the greatest sandwich I've ever had. Everything's the greatest thing he's ever had.
Uh-huh.
And I try to take that on. And because why not? The cup of coffee you're having, that's the only cup of coffee you're having. You might as well enjoy that cup of coffee as much as you possibly can. The sandwich that you're eating, at that point, you're committed to the sandwich. You might as well tell yourself it's the greatest sandwich you ever had and enjoy it because it's the sandwich you're having. And you need to slow down to do that. And I just love that because it's just a very simple way of enjoying and being grateful for what you're doing right now instead of thinking about some other sandwich or some other cup of coffee. So that's my
I could
life.
I could
Slow
use
down,
that. Slow down
smell the
and
roses.
convince myself everything's the greatest. But I did hear, what the best place to slow down is?
What's that?
In space.
I,
You'd be by yourself.
I am never going to space. It's insane. It's crazy to me. People going to Mars and not coming back. That's crazy. I don't even want to leave the house. I don't want to get on an airplane. Every day there's a new airplane problem. Doors are flying off. A wheel flew off. I saw. Forget it. Just stay home. Everybody needs to stay home. Anyway. All right. Well, listen,
Cool.
next week I have figured out how to stop all wars on the planet. I think this is very
Ooh,
important. I'm teeing this up
this sounds
now.
like a hot topic.
I figured it out. It's it's uh it's unconventional, but I think it would work. So
Okay.
stay tuned for that. What do you
All right.
anything our listeners should be keeping an eye out for?
No, I don't got a lot this week. I think in the same vein as slowing down though, I will give a nice little plug to this place. We can talk more about it. Bathhouse in New York City, Flatiron
Bathhouse.
District, the Bathhouse. You never been to a bathhouse? Don't knock it
No,
till you try it.
no.
I had no idea what I was getting into.
Sounds
My wife and I will be back.
salacious.
Bathhouse Flatiron. It's
Sounds a little
fantastic.
salacious. Is that one of these things where you go into a hot bath and then a cold bath and you go back and forth?
Yeah, you can do circuits through them.
Do they
There's steam
do they
rooms. There's
beat you over the back with a branch?
we so again, I feel
It-
like we could do a whole topic on this,
I've
but
only
my
heard about it. Is
we
this
did
true?
do a it not let's see, this was a Moroccan
Okay.
hammam, not a Turkish, not a Russian. This was the
Yeah.
Moroccan style bathhouse. And the hammam is not a brush. They actually bathe you, massage you, cleanse you. It was phenomenal.
Are you naked?
Only if you want to be.
I don't know. I don't know. In theory, that sounds I would like it. I do hot and cold showers.
Mhm.
I go back and forth in theory, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people going through there. There's no hygiene
So
issues.
yes, you're not wrong, and they're actually making it a more social experience. It's one of the few
Yeah, I'm good.
co-ed spaces.
I'd much rather hygienic than social, to be honest.
We did luck out somehow. We got there. I want to say either just at the 1 month mark or just before they celebrated 1 month. So it was very,
Okay.
very new when we
Yes,
went.
that's good.
Um, and they're heated. All the heat in the place for all the steam rooms, saunas, and et cetera, the pools, all comes from Bitcoin mining. That was actually how this place began. They
Wow,
wanted
that's
to look for a
interesting.
way to recycle the heat. Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. I would like to try it. And there's a place in I think in Englewood Cliffs that there's a big one. There's a couple. So we will go to one of those. But this is in New York. What's it's called? Bathhouse?
bathhouse. This was the one in Flatiron. I think there's another one in Brooklyn, maybe. Somebody will probably clobber me for getting that wrong, but
Okay. I'm not going to
it's
Brooklyn, don't worry. It's too far.
yeah. And you're right. There are other ones popping up. I know just in my town, Sauna Suites is
Okay.
I believe a not necessarily a chain, um, but it's similar concept, like private room, hot, cold. Yeah. So
All
check
right.
it out.
I love it.
It's like a bonus life tip right there.
There it is. I mean, they say all of that stuff is good for you. Cold showers, then the you should always end in colds because
I like cold. I
colds
don't like hot.
tightens up the blood vessels, and then when you come out, they open even more than they were. That's the whole vasoconstrictor effect. So that increases blood flow and circulation.
Mhm.
However, this is another bonus unsolicited life tip. Do not, if you work out, you should not do the cold shower or cold exposure after you work out because what'll happen is every all the inflammation that you've done to your muscles that causes them to get bigger and
Mhm.
stronger will go down from the cold exposure.
Hmm.
So so I'm sure there's still some benefit, but if you want it to get bigger or there's that will prevent that natural process from happening. So you're supposed to wait like a couple of hours. I think it's
Interesting.
better to take the shower before you work out. So
Depends what you're doing
I,
after, I suppose.
yeah, I guess. Well, you can take a hot shower after. You just can't take a
Right.
cold.
Yeah, I don't do hot.
Okay. All right. That's it. Please, jasonmessina.com. You can find all the information. We'll plop some links down there, and you can also follow my I write an article a day, so keep an eye on that, and there'll be news about upcoming projects and writing. My the first book in my mystery series will be ready soon. It's called Jhana Junkies, and so you should keep an eye out for that. I believe this is the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. And I can't tell you why. It'll ruin it. This will probably be a 7-book series at least. The first kind of cycle, the story will take each book will be standalone and yet interconnected. Can't tell you why, and it'll take about 7 books to finish this story, I believe, maybe more.
Mm.
So,
Oh, homework.
yeah. So there's a lot of and there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of mysteries and puzzles kind of embedded. So, just trying to get it right. So,
Love it.
anyway, good, very good. My night shift on my computer has gone on, so I know that it's about nine
It's
o'clock.
it's telling you it's time to go.
It's time to
But yeah,
go. All
leave some
right.
comments, like the show, subscribe, give us
Yes.
a shot.
Subscribe, share, do all the things that the kids do. All right, sir. Thank you so much. We will catch up next week.
Take care.